is going to be my submission for the 10-pound winter survival hit challenge. This is a dry bag. I'm going to go over to the scale here, show you all. Set the mode here. Okay, now I'm on pounds, as you can see. Sorry, it's a little blurry. We are just under 10 pounds at 9.996 pounds. Now I'm going to open up the dry bag and show you guys what I've got. Stay tuned. Okay, this is my 10-pound survival kit. I believe this is like a 20-liter dry bag, just outdoor research from Walmart. That's what conveniently I had. First thing to come out is a lightweight fleece jacket as like a mid-layer. Next is an all-weather grabber blanket where it's a tarp on one side and it's got the Mylar reflective on the inside. That's going to be one of the main parts of my shelter. Okay, next I have the SOL escape bivvy. That's going to be another main portion of my shelter. I have a couple sets, or a set of these large hand warmers. I have a packable rain jacket, like a rain shell. My main thing with this is I'm going to try and go heavy with clothing items along with reflective items to try and keep my core body temperature where it needs to be. I have a small little pry bar. Can kind of be used for, you know, if you baton. The knife's not super big in this, but I figured with this pry bar I could at least baton a little ways down and pry the rest apart with this. Okay, next I've got my Emberlit stove. I was planning on building a small fire in this, possibly making a super shelter and heating it from the... If I couldn't make a super shelter, I could put this stove next to a very low lean-to shelter, at least produce some heat and make it controllable with what wood I have. I have quite a bit of... I have some Coghlan's fuel tabs, some wet fire barbecue lighter alternative things, and quite a bit of Esbit fuel tabs for in case I can't find wood, I can at least burn a couple of these to get the heat up. Next, I have some synthetic thermal pants to go underneath my pants to keep me warm. Again, most of this is going to be clothing to go along with the clothes that I'm wearing that day. Okay, for a knife, I have a more robust. For another wood processing tool, I have this Primos folding saw. It's a little bit smaller than a Baco, but it works just as well. Okay, next I have a painter's drop cloth. So if I could make a super shelter with this and the emergency blanket. And here, if I can open it up, I've got these Metrex Colossus bars, I've got some Cliff bars, and I've got some teas and coffee in there. Since I only have one cup in this, I wanted to have calorie dense food that I didn't have to cook, and to provide internal warmth I could make either coffee or tea to keep myself warm. Next, I've got 50 foot of OD green paracord to help with the shelter. I have a beanie to keep my head warm. I have a pair of military wool glove liners along with an old set of motorcycle gloves. These are very tough gloves, so I can use them for processing wood, and the layering of the gloves will keep my hands warm. Okay, next I have an SOL 2-person heat sheet. That's to kind of wrap up in case the bivvy doesn't do as well. You can also use that as a fire reflector. Lastly, I've got these 2 containers. I'm going to open this one up first, and then I'll show you what's inside this one. Okay, this is what's inside the Nalgene container. It's not Nalgene brand, but it's a Nalgene style bottle. It's got the markings on the side if I needed to purify water with the water purification tablets that are in here. I've got some kind of generic shop towels, you know, it's cotton, has a million uses. I have a 1-quart freezer bag for extra water storage. I have a quick ridgeline setup with a Night Eyes figure 9. If you don't know what that is, look it up on Prepared Mind 101's channel, Chris Tanner. He's got a good explanation of that. It's a really smart idea. Just helps you get a shelter set up really quickly. Got a couple of, these are probably about 10 to 12 foot hanks of paracord, just to aid in putting my shelter up quickly. I don't have to sit there and cut through that big hank of paracord. I've got 10 aqua tabs to purify my water, and I've got 2 1-liter Whirlpack bags for extra water storage. Okay, let me pack all this up and I'll show you what's in the Stanley cookpot. Okay, now I'm going to show you what's in this Stanley cookpot. This is going to be my metal container for boiling water, having my drinks out of. Got a nice lid. Okay, on top here I've got a black bandana. Again, a million uses for a bandana. I have a packet of tissues. You know, eventually you're going to have to go to the bathroom, or wipe your nose, use it as tinder, all sorts of stuff. I have a dry bag. I could use this for water collection. My main purpose for this is if it's snowing or raining, I could keep like my cell phone and all that dry in here. Okay. This is something that came with a little kit. A lot of the pieces of this are out of that. I decided to throw that in there as, you know, something to keep me entertained, keep my mind at ease if I was in a real survival situation. Next, I have a Bic lighter with a zip tie around it so the fluid won't leak out. It won't accidentally be depressed. Next, I have a live fire container, and inside the live fire I've got a couple stormproof matches, a striker pad, and some regular waterproof matches. So redundant fire, I can also put this in the stove in a pinch and I could boil my water with that. I wanted this kit to basically be able to create heat and all that without having to go out and gather firewood. Okay, next I've got a roll of jute twine. It's not the strongest, but it's a ton of extra cordage. You can use it as fire tinder, all sorts of uses. And I've got a small pack of stormproof matches with extra striker pad and some cotton balls in there. Again, if it's below freezing temperatures outside, you really need to get a fire going, so I went super heavy on fire redundancy. Next, I have this little Sparky. Basically, it makes sparks. It does pretty good, but I would not want to rely on that. I've got some extra little tinder quicks, just in case. And down in the bottom here, I have a small button compass in case I ever needed to find my way home. I have a couple safety pins, you know, for repair. What I would probably use these for is for helping secure that emergency blanket around some sticks, so that way I could have a heat reflector. I have a whistle for getting help, and I've got a little small roll of duct tape. And there's my Stanley cook pot. It's got some graduation marks in here. I'm not too worried about that because, again, I don't really have to cook my food. This is mostly just to create a hot tea or a coffee to keep my inside of my body warm. I'll come back to you in just a sec and I'll show you what my everyday carry is and how I typically dress on a winter day. Okay guys, this is me. This is the first time you've seen my face on this channel. I just wanted to show what I would typically wear on, you know, a winter day. Usually I'd have a hoodie over this, or at least have a hoodie or a thicker jacket inside the vehicle. For my everyday carry, since we can't include our everyday carry in this, you know, I've got my Ontario Rat 1. I've got a small little pen light. We have a backup battery for my phone, a vape pen, I've got a pen, a notebook, I have a Zippo lighter, that's a butane torch, I have my Leatherman Wave in there. You notice in the kit I only included a fixed blade and a folding saw. I've got everything else on me. I've got my wallet, that's got like a band-aid, a pack of matches, some tinder quicks, a gauze, you know, stuff like that. I've got a bandana in my back pocket. This is the extra large one that's like 2 foot by 2 foot. Most of the time I'm wearing a hat or a beanie, so my head will probably be warm. My left pocket, I have trauma kit, just got a SWAT T tourniquet, some 5x9 gauze, and some gloves. So if anything bad medically happens, I've got that covered. My right cargo pocket, I've got just a general first aid kit. It's got some duct tape, some gauze, some ibuprofen, you know, all sorts of little minor stuff. And being who I am, I usually have a handful of napkins in my pocket. So tinder, keeping yourself clean, toilet paper. I think generally I've got just about everything covered. If it does get cold enough, I live in Southern California, hopefully it will get cold enough before the end of the year. If not, I will still probably do the test and film it. I will just have to post it after December 31st. Trying to think what else. My girlfriend will be there as my safety. You know, she can have the big tent and a little portable heater and whatever she wants. She'll be there to monitor me, make sure I don't get hypothermia. And I'm pretty excited for this challenge, you guys. So I'll wait till it gets cold enough and I'll post the next video. Thanks for watching.